Cause and Effect, the Chinese Exclusion Act, a Bogoma History production. What caused the Chinese Exclusion Act? In the 1850s, Chinese workers migrated to the United States. First, to work in the gold mines because of the California gold rush, but also to take agricultural jobs and factory work. Chinese immigrants were particularly instrumental in building railroads in the American West, especially the Transcontinental Railroad, also known as the Great Overland Route. The Union and Central Pacific Railroads. Great Overland Route, 500 miles in distance to San Francisco. Speed, comfort, and safety. Steel rails. Here's one of the snowplows used to clear the way in the Sierra Nevadas, and in the forefront, in front of this giant snowplow, is a Chinese laborer. Here we can see the difficult terrain Chinese workers faced while constructing the western portion of the Transcontinental Railroad. They made up 90% of the workforce on this portion of the line. What are the effects of Chinese labor? A lot of Americans, especially on the West Coast, objected to Chinese immigration. They object for two reasons, economic and cultural. Most Chinese laborers came to the United States to support their families back in China. These financial pressures left them little choice but to work for whatever wages they could, so they were willing to work for less. Therefore, many non-Chinese workers in the United States came to resent the Chinese laborers, who might squeeze them out of their jobs. Many Chinese immigrants settled in their own ethnic neighborhoods because of cultural and language differences, and these neighborhoods were known as Chinatowns, and they developed a reputation as a place where Chinese men congregated to visit prostitutes, smoke opium, or gamble. Some advocates of anti-Chinese legislation argued that admitting Chinese into the United States lowered the cultural and moral standards of American society. Others had more overtly racist arguments, saying that Chinese immigrants ruined the racial integrity of the United States. So because of this nativism, the Chinese Exclusion Act is signed into law by President Chester A. Arthur, who had assumed the presidency after the assassination of James Garfield. The Chinese Exclusion Act puts a 10-year moratorium or block on Chinese labor immigration. It's the first time federal law blocked entry of an ethnic group on the premise that it endangered the good order of certain localities. Localities here would be on the West Coast. So here our final image is from Puck magazine, which has a man with a hat that says Oregon, two pistols, and it says Hobson's Choice. And Hobson's choice is to jump off the cliff or face death. So we can see the intense amount of resentment and anger towards the Chinese immigrants. Many who will stay and, of course, become American citizens. And that concludes our cause and effect on the Chinese Exclusion Act.